This graphic should be very familiar to everyone by now. Every hurricane season, every storm, every 6 hours, you see a different forecast cone on social media and from us. But do you know exactly what it entails? There is a long-winded definition given by the National Hurricane Center, but the bottom line is that cone is an easy graphical way to communicate uncertainty in forecasting hurricanes. That uncertainty is due to the various weather model interpretations of where the storm is going to go. It is rare for a single run of a computer model to get the track just right, but by laying out many, we can establish a probable track. That track is very rarely right as well, and that's where this cone comes in. The size of the cone comes from the historical error in hurricane forecasts over the past 5 years. Forecasts generally become more muddled and more inaccurate the further one goes out in time, the reason why the cone expands over time. The cone has gotten smaller over recent years as our forecasts have gotten better, but they are still not perfect. The cone represents the probable track of the center of the storm. The center of the storm will stay within the cone 2 out of 3 times, but it does stray away from it 1 out of 3 times. This is why we should emphasize that you should not focus on the track line as it will move, especially 5 days out. The main use is to show you where the center may go, but many use the cone incorrectly. Here's Robbie Berg, hurricane specialist with the National Hurricane Center, on what you shouldn't take away from the graphic.
Hazards associated with a storm usually extend beyond the edge of the cone, so don't use the cone to assess your risk of strong winds, storm surge, heavy rainfall, or tornadoes. And since we prepare for a storm or evacuate based on these hazards, don't use the cone to determine if you should evacuate or how you should prepare. For that type of information, be sure to listen to your local emergency management agency.
The cone just tells one part of the story. To fully understand your risk and to establish your hurricane plans, you should seek out trusted sources to incorporate other graphics that illustrate impacts, as those are not included in the cone. Hopefully, by better understanding this, at times confusing graphic, you can better understand our forecast. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Storm Team 2 meteorologist David Dixon.